My wife burned through $20,000 just to heal herself, and that was only the beginning. You used to think healing was something that helped people live better lives, until the day it nearly destroyed my entire family. And the person who got pulled into that spiral was my wife. Before all of this happened, if you asked me to describe my wife in a few words, I would say, gentle, caring, family-oriented. She was the kind of woman any man would want to marry. She wasn't materialistic. She didn't spend money recklessly. She wasn't the type to show off on social media. We met in college. We dated for 5 years before getting married. The first years of our marriage weren't luxurious, but they were stable. I work as a technical manager at a manufacturing company. My wife works as an accountant. We both worked hard and lived frugally, saving a little every month. After 3 years of marriage, we had managed to save about 500 million Vietnamese dongs, around $20,000. That money was supposed to be the down payment for our future home. It wasn't just money, it was hope. Everything started to change about a year ago. At first, the change was subtle. My wife joined several emotional healing groups on social media. I didn't think much of it. Her job could be stressful sometimes. Whenever she felt overwhelmed, she would read posts in those groups and then tell me about them. Concepts like positive energizing your inner child, letting go of past trauma, connecting with your true self honestly. They sounded reasonable. Some of the posts even seemed thoughtful. I remember thinking, maybe this is just another form of personal development, and I was actually glad she had found a place where she felt understood. Then one evening, while we were having dinner, my wife said, "Hey, I want to join a healing workshop." I asked, "How long?" "3 days." I nodded. "Where?" "A resort outside the city." Still sounded normal. Then I asked the last question, "How much?" My wife hesitated for a few seconds. Then she said quietly, "About 30 million. I nearly choked on my soup. 3 days, 30 million. That was almost half my monthly salary. I asked again, 30 million for 3 days? My wife quickly explained. It wasn't an ordinary class. It was a deep emotional transformation program designed to help people heal their emotional wounds, release negative energy, reconnect with their true self. Said the workshop was led by a famous healing coach, and the course was usually sold out. I looked at her eyes. There was something there, something like hope. After thinking for a while, I said, "All right, if you feel like you need it, go ahead." At that moment, I simply thought, she was happier, less irritable, practicing yoga regularly, meditating every morning. She started to think, maybe that workshop really helped her. But then, one evening, my wife sat down next to me and said, "Hey, that last course was just the beginning." I was starting to get a strange sense of déjà vu. She continued, "If I want to transform at a deeper level, I need to take the next program." I asked, "How much?" She said softly, 50 million. I went silent. A small alarm bell started ringing in my head, but my wife insisted this was a personal growth journey, and if she stopped halfway, everything she had done before would be wasted. In the end, I agreed again, but that still wasn't the end. Just 2 months later, another course appeared. This time, my wife spoke with obvious excitement. "This one is a premium program." I asked, "How much?" She said, 150 million. I stared at her. 150 million for what? My wife began listing the benefits. The course would last 1 full week at a luxury resort. The program included karma cleansing, healing past lives, releasing ancestral energy, connecting with the universe to attract wealth. Listening to that, I felt a chill down my spine. For the first time, I said directly, "I think something about this isn't right." But my wife reacted strongly. She said I didn't understand spiritual growth. She said I was living with a scarcity mindset. And then she said the one sentence that shut me up. "Don't you trust me?" I didn't want to be the kind of husband who stood in the way of his wife, but this time, I decided not to agree. At least not with 150 million. That conversation ended in silence. 2 weeks later, I logged into our shared savings account, just a routine check. But when the balance appeared on the screen, my heart dropped. The 500 million we had saved was gone, completely. At first, I thought I was seeing things, so I checked the transaction history. One large transfer, exactly 500 million, and the person who made the transfer was my wife. That night, I asked her, "Why did you withdraw our savings?" She stayed silent. After a while, she said, "I paid for the course." I froze. You used all 500 million? She nodded. I asked, why didn't you talk to me first? She looked at me calmly and said a sentence I will probably never forget. Don't worry, after I finish my healing, money will naturally come to us. At that time, I thought my wife had simply been temporarily manipulated. I didn't realize that was only the beginning of a nightmare. A few months later, I started receiving strange messages on my phone, unknown numbers, short texts. Are you Miss Than's husband? I replied, yes. The next message made my hands go cold. She still owes me 100 million from a high-interest loan. At first, I thought it was a mistake. But then, another message came, and another, all with the same content: loans, interest, debt collectors. I immediately called my wife. She picked up. But when I asked about the money she borrowed, there was a long silence on the other end. I could hear her breathing, shaking. Then, she started crying. After nearly a minute, she said something that made my entire world collapse. I'm almost 1 billion VN in debt. But the most terrifying part wasn't the debt. It was that my wife herself had started to change in ways I could never have imagined. From a gentle woman, she was slowly becoming a ticking time bomb inside our own home.